Now a value in JavaScript is always a certain type. For example, you get this number or a string. So there's 8 basic data types in JavaScript, and then we're just going to cover them in general and talk about each. Now before we do that, I just want to create a new directory here. I'm going to call it data types, and then we will just add 2 files, index.html, and then we'll add another file. Let's just call it app.js for JavaScript, and then we want to include our script. So we can just say script, which is app.js. All right, I think I need to rename this one, so it must be a dot, not comma, for developer tools. All right, now as I mentioned, it is 8 data types that sort of divided into different groups. So now the first data types that we have is a group of primitive. It's called primitive data types. Now in primitive, we get, maybe we're gonna start with the number. So the number represents both an integer and a floating point numbers. It also includes special values like infinity and not a number. So for example, let's say we have let age is 25. So this is an integer. It's going to be an integer. And if we console.log type of age, then we can actually see that is a number. So age is a number. So sometimes we can also have floating point numbers. So let's say let price. So if we check the type of price, then we'll see it's also a number. So it's still a number there, although it's a floating point number. So we can also put like exponential numbers, like let's maybe large number. Then we can actually see all of this. Now for infinity, we can say console.log 1 divided by 0. So that will actually give us the infinity. I need to comment this one. And you can actually see it's giving us infinity there. All right. Sometimes we can have negative infinity. So for example, if we take console.log minus -1 divided by 0, so this should give us a negative infinity. And then we can actually see that it's giving us that negative infinity. Now we also have not a number. For example, we can say console.log multiplied by 10. So this should give us not a number. If we look at that, then we can see it's giving us not a number. Now then we have strings. Now a string type is used to represent a text or textual data. Strings are immutable and they can be defined using single quotes, or you can define them using double quotes or a backticks for template literals as well. All right. First, let's say we've got a variable called first name, and then there we can store a John. So this is a single quote, and then we can have maybe last name. Then we can use a string literal. Like for example, we can say let create a variable full name, and then we will just use the string literals. So that is a backtick. We're using a backtick, and then we'll just say first name. Now if we console.log first name, so that will print out John, and then we can console.log last name, and that will print out Doe, and that should print out John Doe. Just fix that. Now if we look at it, then we can see John and then Doe and then John Doe for full name. Sometimes we can even do a multi-line string. So let's say multi, so we can say this is a multi line string. Now if we look at this, then we can actually see that multi-line, whereby we're using the template literals. Then we have a boolean. A boolean type has only two values. It's either true or false. So it's typically used in conditional testing. For example, we can a boolean has license, so it can either hold true or false. And we can just say console.log, and you can see that it's returning true there. Let's say we store age 18. All right, now I do have a variable called age. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna change this to an uppercase, and then we can have let can vote, and then we can say age must be greater or equals to 18. And then we can check if this person can vote now, can legally vote, can vote. So that should give us true, that should return true. So the person can vote because the age is 18. But if we say age is 15, then if we go and check it, it says oh sorry, age uppercase, so it should give us false now. If we look at it, then we can actually see that this person is not eligible to vote. Now the null type has only one value, which is null. It represents the intentional absence of any object value. For example, we can say let selected car is null. Now if we go ahead and log selected car, so that should give us null. Give us a null there. But if we come back and say selected car, then it should print out Oyura is the selected car. Now then we have also undefined. Now a variable that has been declared but is not assigned a value has a value of undefined. Right? For example, I can say So this should actually return undefined. They can come back and just take initialized variable and store number 52 in it. That should return that 52 because now I've initialized that variable. Now a symbol type is used to create a unique identifier for objects. So each symbol's value is unique and is immutable. For example, symbol 1, 2, and 3. And then if we log console.log sim1 is sim2, so that will actually return false. And then if we say sim2 dot log sim2. Now remember, a number represents any numerical values. A string represents a sequence of characters, and a boolean represents true or false, and then null represents the absence of a value, and then undefined represents an uninitialized variable, and a symbol represents unique identifiers. So these are just the examples that we cover in each primitive data types in JavaScript. Now we also have reference types. Let me just now reference data types are objects that are stored as references in the memory. So this means that when you assign or pass an object, you're working with a reference to that object rather than the actual object itself. So the main reference data types in JavaScript is objects. The first one is object, which is a collection of a key value pairs. So keys can be strings, or they can be symbols or values that can be of any type. For example, we can say we can create a variable person, and that will be an object. So we can say name is the key there is name, and then the value is Alice. And then we can say value of age 25. We can have a function called greet, or a method called greet. And we just say hello. Okay, here we can actually use the string literals. Hello, my name is. Now to access the object, so we can say console.log, which is a person, which is the object name, dot the key, which is the name. So they should print out Alice. And then if we come back and console.log person dot age, so they should print out 25. And if we want to print out the method there, so we can just call it person.greet, which is the method. Then it's gonna print out hello, my name is Alice. Now if we look at the printout, then we can see the name Alice, and then the age 25, and then the greet function or the greet method within that. Now the second reference types is arrays, what we call an array. Now an array is an ordered collection of values, so it's indexed by numerical keys starting from 0. For example, we can have maybe fruits, so we can have apple, then banana, then maybe cherry. Now let's say if we want to access, so first we can log, and then we should get the list of the array, which is apple, banana, and cherry. And you can actually see that there is 3 fruits in there. All right, and if we click on it, you see that it's represented by the index value. So apple is on 0, index 0, and then banana on index 1, and then cherry on index 2. So let's say I wanted to print out only banana, because now I know it's on index 1, so I can just say console dot log fruits, and then but I want to access any fruit that is on index 1. So if we look at that, then we can see it's printing out banana because banana is on index 1. Now, a function is a block of code that is designed to perform a particular task. Functions are first-class objects in JavaScript, meaning they can be assigned to variables, passed as arguments, and returned from other functions. Called add, and then we can pass some parameters there, say a and b, and then we're gonna return a multiplied by b. So we can create another variable and say let sum is at 5 and 10. Now what's going to happen is that, remember, as we pass these arguments, 5 is actually a, and then 10 is b, or b is 10. So that means it's going to add a plus 5 or 5 plus 10, which gives us 15. So that should actually print out 15 here. So if we look at it, then you can actually see that it's giving us that 15. All right, so let's say maybe we can even do it like this, say multiply, and then we can just return a multiplied by b. Console.log, let's say 5 and 10. So they should give us 50. And we can actually see it's giving us 50 there. Then we have the date. Now the date represents, let me just do this. Now the date represents date and times, and then it provides methods to work with date and times. Say we wanted a, let's say now, and we're just gonna say new date. So this should actually give us the current date and time. So if we log now, it should actually give us the current date and time. Now if we look at that, then we can see today is Tuesday, May 14, 2024, and South African Standard Time, GMT there. All right. Now we also have a regular expressions. Reg exp, so that represents regular expressions used to match in strings, used for pattern matching and strings. Like we can have a pattern is hello. Now if we console.log pattern text, so this should actually give us true. So it should give us true because we're testing if does the text match the pattern there. So we do have hello somewhere there. Then there is also map and set. Now map is a collection of a key value pairs where keys can be of any type. Okay, map and set, and then set is a collection of unique values. So we can have map, it's new map, and then we can just say map dot set name, the value of John. And then if we log console log map dot get name, so this should print out John. Then we can even check the size. So we can say console.log map.size, which should give us 2. And it's giving us 2 here. All right. Now set, remember set is a collection of unique values. So for example, we can, so duplicates are always ignored. And we're getting 2 and true here. In summary, remember that data types are crucial because they define the kind of data a variable can hold and how that data can be manipulated. So understanding data types helps you to write more robust and predictable code. So we've got different data types. So primitive data types are the most basic data types in JavaScript. So they are immutable, meaning their values cannot be changed once created. And then JavaScript has 6 primitive data types: a number, string, boolean, null, undefined, and symbol. And then reference types. Reference types are objects that are stored as references in the memory. So this means that when you manipulate an object, you are working with a reference to that object rather than the actual object itself. So JavaScript has several reference data types. The object, remember, an object is a collection of key value pairs when keys are strings or symbols, and values can be any type. And then it's used to store different key collections, and more complex entities. And then an array is an ordered collection of values that are indexed by numerical keys starting from 0. You can hold values of mixed types as well. And then a function is a block of code that is designed to perform a particular task. Functions are first-class objects in JavaScript, and meaning they can be assigned to variables, passed as arguments, and returned from other functions. And then the date represents a single moment in time and provides a method for handling date and times. It's created using a date constructor. And then regular expressions represents regular expressions, which are patterns that is used to match character combinations in a string, useful for pattern matching and test manipulation. And then a map is a collection of key value pairs where keys can be of any type. It preserves the order of elements and allows easy retrieval of values by the keys. And then set is a collection of unique values of any type as well. It does not allow duplicates values and maintains the insertion order of element. Now, in summary, or in conclusion, understanding data types in JavaScript is essential for effective programming. Primitive data types provide the basic building blocks for data manipulations, while reference types offer more complex structures for managing collections and objects. And then knowing when and how to use each of these types will help you to write more efficient and maintainable code.